So she went from being told that she'll never be able to walk again at a very young age to becoming one of the fastest women in the entire world. Another story of resilience and overcoming obstacles and perseverance. He didn't stop there. He then ran for the United States House of Representatives and won that election.
Nice.
So he went from being a slave to a state senator to a United States representative. I mean, that's a story of resilience, perseverance, beating the odds, overcoming adversity, overcoming your obstacles, not giving up, and fulfilling your God-given purpose right there.
I was wondering who was your favorite person throughout Black history and who impacted you the most?
It's a good question.
Yeah, great question.
That's a good question. I would have to say Jesus.
Come on, you're gonna have to elaborate on that. That's a bar right there. Like you're gonna have to
Oh
elaborate
my
on
goodness,
that.
man. Jesus is everything to me, but Jesus is also part of Black history. You know, the Bible is a Black history book. And so many people minimize that and they deny that so much. This is a God-given gift of mine. This is my purpose, it's my calling.
I am standing here in downtown Bedford, near Cleveland, Ohio, in front of a beautiful Black History mural. Man, the artists, they really did a phenomenal job with this mural here. And man, if you want to check out more work that they have done, we have their social media handles right there. Go ahead and check out their work. They did a phenomenal job. But the reason why we're standing in front of a Black History mural is because today we're having a Black History conversation with none other than Black historian Gabriel Scott. Man, Gabriel is just phenomenal. This man has done Black history lectures at grade schools, high schools, universities. The man has wrote a phenomenal book. I'm just telling you, you need to tap in and get his book, but not only tap in and get his book, do that after you listen to his interview, because what he's gonna drop on us is gonna really bless you, and you're gonna be glad that you tapped in and listened to what he had to say. The man is just on fire when it comes to Black history. And speaking of being on fire, man, he's not only on fire as it relates to history, he is on fire as it relates to just being a great human being, man. He's a man of God. He's a great family man, and he's a great husband. And here's what I love about the fact of him being a good husband, because I love the fact that God used me to bring them together in holy matrimony, because I was the one that was the officiant to their wedding. Yeah, you see the pictures right there. So without further ado, family, let's go into the interview that we had with none other than the great Gabriel Scott. Let's go, family.
I feel like every school needs a Gabriel Scott. So how did you actually get to that point?
Well, again, just going back to when I was 10 years old, my parents knew that I had a strong liking for history.
Yes.
So that's why they bought me the President's book when I was 10 years old. I memorized all the presidents, and from that point on, when I was in the 6th grade, actually, my 6th grade teacher allowed me to recite all the presidents in front of the entire school.
Yes.
So it was at that point where I felt like, I can speak in front of people.
Yes.
Whatever it was regarding history. History has always been a passion of mine, though. Just my knowledge and my willingness to want to teach the truth to people, because we know there's been a lot of falsifying information, a lot of whitewashed history that's been told, and it's revelation, putting the truth out there, because there's not enough of it, especially when it comes to Black people, the Black community.
Yeah.
And so this is a God-given gift of mine. This is my purpose, it's my calling.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose. And it's just very rewarding to know that someone is being educated and informed by my history material. I teach on social media every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Every Tuesday I write and I post something unknown in Black history. Mm-hmm. I've been doing that for the past 4 years.
Consistently for the past 4 years. So you see his social media handle right there on the screen for the wonderful people that's listening to us on the podcast. I mean, you got people from Great Britain who's listening, all across the world that's listening to us right now. So actually spell out your social media handle so that they know where they can follow you at, so they can tap in on Tuesdays.
Yeah, my social media, Facebook, is type in Gabriel Scott. Instagram is historian_Gabe_Scott.
Okay.
So those are my social media platforms that I'm on.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
And certainly we'll have that in the notes and the description as well. Now, I still, was there like a specific moment that helped you transition from American history to I need to give these people the truth? Because you mentioned that there's a lot of falsified information and whitewashed information out here. So what shifted? Because when you're stating all the presidents, at the moment when you were 10 years old, there were no black presidents. Heck, we only had one so far.
Correct.
So how did you go from that type of history to breaking down the truth as it relates to black history?
Well, just my love for my people.
Yes.
The love for my people, and again, God just put something in me. It's my purpose to put the truth out there in regards to our people. I've always liked black history. It's a passion of mine, and I'm all about international history now.
Yeah.
It's just a passion.
I love it. I love the fact that you're following your passion. Now, this particular interview is slightly different because I think that it would be beneficial to all of us if you were to just let us peek in on your world and share some of, those hidden jewels, those gems, those black gems that we may not be aware of. Because I'm telling you, like even as an adult, you have been a blessing to me. Even back when I was a youth pastor, when I was full-time in ministry, you've always been the type of individual to bring some information about our people that just is unknown to most, but it's very inspirational when you hear it, right? And this is the purpose experience. So can you share some individuals that we may not know of, that they don't talk about in school, right?
Sure.
That can be an enlightenment and an inspiration to us all.
Sure, I'll start off talking about Robert Smalls. Some people might have heard of him. Some people might not be aware or familiar with that name. Robert Smalls was born a slave, but he became a United States representative. So he was born into slavery to black parents in South Carolina, and as he got older, he was hired to be a deckhander for a Confederate steamship called the Planter in South Carolina Harbor. And he also brought along his family and other blacks on the ship. This was a Confederate ship that he was on. While on the ship, the white commanders that were on the ship and guiding the ship, they all fell asleep. There was guns and ammunition on the ship as well. So while they were asleep, he took the major risk of creating a mutiny. He led a mutiny, which was like a revolt or rebellion.
Yes.
He took full control of the ship, along with his immediate family and the other blacks that were on the ship. He steered it to a Union blockade. So they took over the ship. The Union military caught hold of or caught attention to what he was doing. He led his family to freedom after that.
Wow.
Now that was a major risk he took. After that happened, he became a national celebrity. So the Union Navy enlisted him into the United States Navy. He became a sea captain after that. He stayed in the military for some time. He got out and became a businessman. He opened some hotels, grocery stores, and things like that. After that, he felt like, okay, I think I can run for office to make change for African Americans. So he ran for the South Carolina state legislature and won.
Nice.
He then ran for state senate in South Carolina and won. He didn't stop there. He then ran for the United States House of Representatives and won that election.
Nice.
So he went from being a slave to a state senator to a United States representative. I mean, that's a story of resilience, perseverance, beating the odds, overcoming adversity, overcoming your obstacles, not giving up, and fulfilling your God-given purpose right there.
Oh, that is a blessing. I agree with that. And I think it was amazing how he gained so many followers without social media.
Exactly, yeah, right.
Hey,
Just like that.
So the way to get your followers is to do what he did, take control of your own ship. That's the principle right there. Come on,
Exactly.
give me some more jewels. Like I love that. I mean, just sitting there listening to you break that down, I just got inspired just hearing that story. Who's someone else that we may not know about that would be a blessing for us to learn about?
Now, some people might have heard of this woman, some might not. Wilma Rudolph. Wilma Rudolph, her story is just amazing to me. When it comes to fulfilling a purpose and overcoming obstacles, she's one of the first people within Black history that I think of. I love her story. She started out as a young athlete. She was able to walk up until about 10 years old. And she contracted double pneumonia, scarlet fever, and polio. Now, a lot of times polio, of course, that affects the spinal cord, and you could end up with paralysis to where you will never be able to walk. So at a very young age, her doctor told her mother that she'll never be able to walk ever again. And her mom said, no, I don't think so, the devil is a lie. And she felt the same way. She did everything she could to become that athlete. So she went on to Tennessee State University. While she was at Tennessee State University, she was hit with some ailments regarding her polio virus. That was somewhat of a setback for her. But again, she persevered and she overcame that obstacle. She ended up in the 1960 Olympic Games in Rome, Italy, to where she became the first Black woman to receive 3 gold medals in the Olympics. Not only that, she became one of the fastest women in the world. One of the fastest women in the world. So she went from being told that she'll never be able to walk again at a very young age to becoming one of the fastest women in the entire world. Another story of resilience and overcoming obstacles and perseverance and not letting what was told to her at a young age become a setback. Prime example of that. What the devil meant to be permanent, she made temporary. God made temporary for her life. So she had a purpose for
Absolutely.
for herself.
Wait. We can't just go over that bar that you just dropped right there. Did y'all just hear that? Did you just hear that? He said what the devil meant for permanent, God made temporary. You know, I know the cliche or what we love to recite is that what the devil meant for evil, God made it for good. But this man just dropped a gem and said what the devil meant for permanent, God made temporary. That is a bar right there. Come on, put in the comments if you know that was a bar. Come on now, y'all got to give the man some love there. Come on, give us one more, at least one more, man. Like I personally can see here. We like this message. Let us know if you want us to have a part 2. Let us know. Let me know if you're listening from the podcast, because I'm telling you, this man got some jewels for us.
I appreciate
Let us at least get one more. What you got?
Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. He's an unsung, unknown figure within not just Black history, but just American history. Dr. Daniel Hale Williams performed the first successful open heart surgery.
Wow.
And he also founded the first integrated hospital in America. So without this man and his brilliance, we wouldn't have Black and white medical professionals working under the same roof to this very day. But at a young age, he met some setbacks as well. He was discriminated against. People saw the brilliance in him at a very young age. But as he got older and he started expanding his knowledge in medicine, he tried to get hired in white-owned segregated hospitals. He was declined several times. That didn't stop him. That didn't stop him at all. He ended up founding the National Medical Association, aside from the segregated organization that was called the American Medical Association. They did not allow black membership. So he took it upon himself, okay, you don't want blacks to be members of your organization, I'm gonna start my own. It became nationally known, and it ended up with thousands of black members. Along with, like I just said before, he started the first integrated hospital in America, in Chicago. And so again, because of him, we have integrated hospitals all over.
That is a blessing to hear. Now let me ask a question. Is this the same gentleman that they made the movie about where I think Mos Def was playing him? I'm gonna look that up. I'm not talking about Gifted Hands because I think Gifted Hands
that was
the
Ben Carson.
That was the Ben Carson movie, but it was a movie.
You might be talking about Vivian.
Yes, that's who I'm talking about.
That's not, yeah.
So that's separate.
That's
from
separate.
Vivian.
That's separate.
My goodness,
that's
so you just dropped
man.
another. I thought I knew one.
No.
So I just learned.
Yeah.
3 new things about our people, and here's the beauty of it, man. The premise of it all is that we all got something great inside of us. And here's the beauty. You may not be famous, right? Everybody may not know your name, but it's still some great things that you can do through your own personal story to where when people hear your story, you will be inspired. I don't know about you, but I was inspired by each individual that he just brought up, and I never heard of him before. But I was inspired by their story, especially the gangster one, the one who said, I'm taking over this
Robert
whole
Smalls,
ship. I'm taking over the whole ship.
Yeah.
And not only did he take over the whole ship, he said, hey, I'm going to come back, and then I'm just going to get elected on y'all, that's just boss right there, Hey, here's something else that's boss. Gabriel Scott has a website with more gems, with more jewels. And if you want to get more information like that, he just gave us a snapshot. Man, if you want to get more details and more, like the man just told you that every Tuesday he gives you more of this so he don't run out. We're only stopping because I'm stopping him. He can keep on going. He's been going for 4 years every Tuesday. Every Tuesday for 4 straight years. So listen, his information is right there on the screen. Make sure that you go to GabrielScott.net so you can get more information. GabrielScott.net. Spell it for him. Actually, spell it out for him because I don't ever want to allow our podcast listeners to miss out on this great content.
Yeah, that is www.GabrielScott.net. N-E-T. That's the website.
Now, Gabe, what's something that I didn't ask you that I probably should have? I feel like it's something like, what do you guys think? Like, what's something that I didn't ask that I should?
I was wondering who was your favorite person throughout Black history and who impacted you the most?
It's a good question.
Yeah, great question.
That's a good question. I would have to say Jesus.
Come on, you're going to have to elaborate on that. That's a bar right there. Like you're going to have to elaborate
Oh, my goodness, man. Jesus is everything to me, but Jesus is also part of Black history. The Bible is a Black history book. And so many people minimize that, and they deny that so much. Jesus was King of the Jews. The original Jews were all Negro. They were all Black. The original Hebrew were all Black. They came from the land of Chaldea. Chaldea was largely Black populated. And the the Jews did not allow anyone to lead them that did not look like them. It also says it in the book of Revelation. If people just read the Bible, it's right in there of Jesus' skin color, his skin tone, the texture of his hair. He had skin of brass as if he had been burned in a furnace. When something burns, does it get lighter or does it get darker? It gets darker. He had hair like wool. There's only one race in the entire world that has woolly hair. That is the Negro race. That's the black race. So I'm saying that Jesus, it's impossible that Jesus could have been white. And you've heard that so many times from different people. Jesus was definitely a person of color.
That's a gem right there. Y'all hear that? Man, so you see, because you just cracked some people's head with that, right? Now here's something that I think is important. I know I'm like starting like a whole nother interview after the interview, but what are some great books that would be good for us to tap into? Because you don't learn something like what you just said. Of course, the Bible is the ultimate book. But what are like some other great books that would be beneficial for us to tap into? Any event that we want to start digging deeper on our own personal time frame.
Yeah, I would say for sure all books by W.E.B. Du Bois. The main one that sticks out the most in my mind is The Souls of Black Folk. All books by Joel Augustus Rogers. All the books by him. All books by Carter Woodson, who's considered the father of black history. There's one particular book called The Miseducation of the Negro.
Carter G. Woodson.
Carter G. Woodson.
Omega Psi.
Yes. Yes, that came out in 1933. That came out in 1933.
Yeah.
That's very profound.
Now hold on. So you just said all the books on. Now most people who are listening to this, they're not going to. As soon as they hear you say all the books, it's kind of like, so kind of give us like some to like start off with. So you did mention the Miseducation of the Negro. You also mentioned The Souls of Black Folks, but kind of be more specific on some of these books that we should target.
Yes. So Joel Augustus Rogers, I would recommend this book called The 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro with Complete Proof. He didn't just write this book with 100 amazing facts, but he also provides sources that provide evidence, that provides proof, confirmation of what he has in his book. There's another book called The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence by Dr. David Imhotep, with all the proof in that book as well. What we were taught in school, it's amazing how what we were taught in school was a complete opposite of what the truth really is. They say that the first Americans were white and the first and only slaves were black. It's actually the complete opposite of that. The first Americans were black. The first slaves in America were white. As a matter of fact, the term slave comes from the word Slav, which is short for Slavonians. The Slavonians were white Russian people. So the term slave initially applied to white people. So I would recommend that book, Dr. David Imhotep, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence.
Hey, well, I feel like that is plenty for us to start off with. Listen, we put some links in the description so that you can tap in and go ahead and grab some of those books. We got all the information that you need to get those books that Gabriel just mentioned.
Yes.
So go ahead, go tap into your history, and even if it's not your history, if you're listening and you're not black, man, it would behoove you to go ahead and tap into this great history of the black culture. Someone has truthfully said, if you don't know your history, you are bound to repeat it.
Yes.
But there are some parts of history that we want to repeat. right?
Amen.
And when you hear these type of stories about the giants of the black culture, it is a beautiful thing to hear. Listen, no matter what culture you are part of, if you're black, white, Hispanic, you know, no matter where you land, I believe that there's some principles from this that we all can take and apply to our life. This has been another edition of the Purpose Experience. If you felt that this was some good content, make sure you smash that like button. Hey, share it with a friend, share the podcast, share this episode, put in the comments anything that you want us to learn, anything that you want to learn about, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. And until next week, go be great.